It was a Tuesday. A completely normal, boring Tuesday. The kind of Tuesday where the most exciting thing that happens is finding a matching sock. I was in my small kitchen, wearing my oldest, most comfortable pajamas. You know the ones with the tiny holes you promise to throw away, but never do. I was dancing very badly to a song from 10 years ago. I was holding a spoon, using it as a microphone. I was singing about love and heartbreak, but I wasn't really feeling it. I was just existing. My hair was a mess. There was probably some toothpaste on my chin. I was safe in my own little world. The world I had built for myself after he left. A world without surprises. A world I controlled. And then I heard a key in the lock. My heart stopped. My spoon microphone froze in midair. My first thought was not logical. My first thought was, it's a ghost. My second thought was, it's a robber who somehow got a key to this specific apartment. My third thought, the one that made my blood run cold, was, it's him. The door opened, and there he was. Ayan. He looked like Ayan, but different. His shoulders were a little more tired. His eyes, those deep, dark eyes I used to get lost in, looked older. They looked scared. He was holding a small suitcase, the same one he had taken with him when he left me 3 years, 2 months, and 14 days ago. But I wasn't counting. He stood in the doorway, and the whole world went silent. The music from my phone seemed to fade away. The only sound was the pounding of my own heart in my ears. It was so loud, I was sure he could hear it. He didn't move. I didn't move. We just looked at each other. It felt like an hour, but it was probably only 5 seconds. Finally, he spoke. His voice was rough, like he hadn't used it in a while. Zara, he said. Just my name. I wanted to say a million things. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to throw my spoon at his head. But what came out of my mouth was the dumbest thing possible. The door was locked. He looked down at the key in his hand. I never gave it back. That hit me like a punch in the stomach. He still had the key. For 3 years, he had been carrying a key to a place he no longer belonged. A key to a life he had abandoned. The key I should have asked for, but was too proud or too hurt to demand. You can't just come back. I finally managed to say, my voice shaking. Not like this. Not on a Tuesday. He let out a small, sad laugh. It was a sound I remembered. It used to make me smile. Now, it just made my chest ache. It's always a Tuesday, isn't it? He said softly. The worst days are always Tuesdays. He was right. The day he left, that was a Tuesday too. A cold, rainy Tuesday in November. I remembered every detail. The way he couldn't look me in the eye. The way he said, I just need to find myself. Find yourself. Such a stupid, selfish phrase. Did he find himself? Was that him? Standing in my doorway, looking lost? Why are you here, Ayan? I asked, my voice harder this time. I crossed my arms, trying to build a wall. I was very aware of my stupid pajamas. I felt weak. He took a small step inside. Just one step. Because I'm tired, he whispered. I'm so tired of running. I'm tired of pretending I don't know where home is. My eyes started to burn. No, he was not going to do this. He was not going to come in here with his pretty words and make me forget. I had worked so hard to forget. This is not your home anymore, I said, pointing a finger at him. My finger was shaking. You gave up this home. You walked out of this home. He flinched. Good. He should flinch. He should feel some of the pain I felt. I know, he said, his voice cracking. I know, Zara. And I have no right to be here. I have no right to ask you for anything. But I didn't know where else to go. That stopped me. What do you mean? What happened? He looked down at his suitcase. He looked so small standing there. My tall, confident Ayan, looking like a lost little boy. My father, he passed away. Last week. The anger in my chest softened just a little bit. It was pushed aside by a wave of surprise, and then a deep sadness for him. I knew how close he was to his father. His father was his hero. When we were together, he would call him every Sunday without fail. I remembered the pain in his voice when his father got sick a few years ago. That sickness was part of the reason he left. He said he needed to be closer to him. He said he couldn't split himself in two anymore. He chose his father. He left me for his father. And now his father was gone. Ayan, I'm so sorry, I said. And I meant it. Despite everything, I meant it. He nodded, but he didn't look up. The funeral was yesterday. I couldn't stay in that house. It's full of ghosts. Every corner, every photo. I just started walking. I ended up at the train station. And the next thing I knew, I was on a train here. It was like my legs brought me here without asking my brain. I understood that feeling. The feeling of your body knowing where it needs to be, even when your mind is screaming at it to stop. How many times had I almost called him? How many times had I picked up the phone, only to put it back down? My body had wanted to call him, but my brain had stopped me. He finally looked up and met my eyes. There were tears in them. I had never seen Ayan cry. Not when we fought. Not when he left. Never. Seeing it now broke something inside me. I'm not here to cause trouble, Zara, he pleaded. I'm not here to mess up your life again. I couldn't be alone tonight. I didn't know who else would just let me be. You were the only person who ever just let me be myself. Without any questions. That was true. That was our magic. We could sit in silence for hours, and it never felt awkward. We could be sad or silly or angry, and the other one just accepted it. I looked at him, standing there with his suitcase, looking so broken. The logical part of my brain was screaming, asterisk, kick him out. Call the police. He's trouble. Asterisk, but the other part, the part that still remembered the way he used to hold my hand, the way he would make me tea when I was sick, that part just felt pity. Deep, aching pity. And also, if I'm being honest, a tiny flicker of something else. Something that felt a lot like hope. And that scared me more than anything. The couch isn't very comfortable, I heard myself say. The words were out before I could stop them. He looked at me, his eyes wide with disbelief. What? You can stay tonight, I said quickly, trying to sound firm. On the couch. Just for tonight. We can figure out the rest tomorrow. He let out a breath he seemed to have been holding for a very long time. His whole body sagged with relief. Thank you, Zara. Thank you. Don't thank me, I warned him, pointing my finger again. This doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change the past. It's just one night. He nodded, agreeing to everything. He would have agreed if I told him the sky was green. He put his suitcase down by the door and took off his jacket. He looked around the living room. I saw his eyes pause on the new pictures on the wall. Pictures of me with my friends. A painting I had bought at a market. There were no pictures of him. I had thrown them all away. Well, not thrown away. That felt too violent. I had put them in a box and shoved the box to the very back of my closet. Out of sight, out of mind. Or so I told myself. It looks different, he said softly. Good different. It looks like you. It is me, I said, a little defensively. It's my home, my life. He nodded again, accepting the small attack. He was so defeated. It was strange to see him like this. The Ayan I knew was always sure of himself. Always had a plan. This man looked like his plan had completely fallen apart. I went to the linen closet and pulled out a spare blanket and a pillow. I threw them on the couch, a little harder than necessary. There. Bathroom is down the hall. Towel is on the rack. If you need anything, well, figure it out. He smiled a tiny, sad smile. It was the smile I remembered. The one that crinkled the corners of his eyes. My heart did a little flip. I hated my heart for it. I will, he said. "Good night, Zara." "Good night," I mumbled, and I practically ran to my room. I closed the door and leaned against it, my heart pounding. What had I just done? I had let the man who broke my heart sleep on my couch. I was an idiot, a complete and total idiot. I didn't sleep. I lay in my bed, staring at the ceiling, listening. I listened to every tiny sound from the living room. I heard him moving around. I heard the couch creak as he sat down. I heard him sigh. It was a long, deep sigh that seemed to carry the weight of the last 3 years. It made my chest hurt all over again. I thought about the last time we were together. It wasn't a big fight. It was worse. It was quiet. He sat me down on this very couch, held my hand, and told me he was leaving. He said he loved me, but he had to go. He said he felt like he was drowning, that he couldn't be the person I needed him to be and also take care of his father. He said I deserved someone who could be there 100%. I begged him. I actually begged him. I told him I didn't need 100%. I told him we could figure it out together. I told him I would wait. But he shook his head with tears in his eyes and said, "No, Zara, you shouldn't have to wait for a life. You should live it." And then he kissed my forehead, picked up his bag, and walked out the door. For months after, I waited. I waited for a call. I waited for him to come back. I checked my phone every 5 minutes. I analyzed every single social media post he made. I drove myself crazy. And then, slowly, painfully, I stopped waiting. I picked up the pieces. I made a new life. A life that didn't include him. And now he was back, sleeping on my couch. The unfairness of it all hit me like a wave. Why did he get to just walk back in? Why did his pain get to become my problem again? The next morning, I woke up before the sun. I hadn't slept, but my body was on high alert. I got dressed in my most serious clothes, jeans, and a plain black t-shirt. Armor. I took a deep breath and opened my bedroom door. The living room was quiet. The blanket was folded neatly on the couch. The pillow was placed perfectly on top. And Ayan was in the kitchen. He was standing at the stove, making eggs. He was humming softly to himself. It was the same song I had been dancing to last night. He heard me and turned around. "Morning," he said, his voice soft. "I hope you don't mind. I found the eggs. I was hungry. I made enough for 2. He looked better this morning, less haunted. He had showered. His hair was still a little wet. He was wearing a simple white shirt. He looked like he belonged there, like he had always been there. I stood in the doorway, watching him. It was such a familiar scene. He used to make me breakfast every weekend. He was a much better cook than me. He would make these elaborate omelets while I sat at the small table and complained about being tired. "You're humming my song," I said, my voice flat. He paused, then a small smile played on his lips. "Was it your song?" "It was just stuck in my head. I heard it last night through the door. It was nice. It reminded me of better times. I didn't want to be reminded of better times. Better times made the bad times hurt more." He slid a plate of eggs and toast onto the table.
"Sit. Eat."
"Please," he said. Not because he asked me to, but because the eggs actually looked good and my stomach was growling. I ate in silence. He sat across from me, nursing a cup of coffee. He didn't eat. He just watched me. "Stop staring at me," I said, without looking up. "Sorry," he said quickly, looking down at his coffee. I'm trying to remember everything. The way you eat your toast. You still eat the crusts first." I froze, a piece of crust halfway to my mouth. He remembered that. Such a stupid, tiny detail. It made my eyes sting. "Some things don't change," I muttered and took a bite. "Some things shouldn't," he said quietly. We finished eating in a thick, uncomfortable silence. I cleared the plates, needing something to do with my hands. He stayed at the table. "So," I said, my back to him as I washed the dishes. "What's your plan? You can't just stay here." "I know," he said. "I'll find a hotel today. Or an Airbnb. I needed one night to think." I turned off the water and turned to face him. "Why did you really come here, Ayan? Not the 'my legs brought me here' story. The real reason." He looked at me for a long time. The air in the room grew thick again. When he spoke, his voice was so quiet I had to lean in to hear him. "Because you are the only home I've ever known." The words hung in the air between us, heavy and dangerous. I wanted to believe him. A part of me, a very loud part, screamed at me to believe him. But the smarter part, the part that had spent 3 years healing, put up its walls. "That's not fair," I whispered, my voice shaking. "You don't get to say that. Not after you left. Not after you chose to leave." "I know it's not fair," he said, standing up and taking a step towards me. "I know I have no right to say it, but it's the truth. Every place I went, every city I lived in, I was just existing. I wasn't living, because living meant sharing my day with you. It meant telling you about the stupid bird I saw, or the funny guy on the bus. And I couldn't do that anymore. So I just stopped living." Tears were rolling down my cheeks now. I couldn't stop them. He saw them, and his own eyes filled with pain. He took another step, and then he was right in front of me. "I'm not asking you to take me back, Zara," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking you to let me be near you. For a little while. Let me just breathe the same air as you. It's been so long since I've been able to breathe." He reached out and gently wiped a tear from my cheek with his thumb. His touch was electric. It sent a shiver down my spine. It was the first time he had touched me in 3 years. It felt both completely foreign and achingly familiar. I should have pulled away. I should have slapped his hand away. But I didn't. I stood there, frozen, my eyes locked on his. I could see the years of pain in them. My pain. His pain. "I was so angry at you," I whispered. "For so long." "You had every right to be," he said softly, his hand now gently cupping my face. "I was angry at myself. I threw away all your pictures," I said, a small, sad confession. He smiled a little. "I kept all of yours, in a box under my bed. I used to look at them when it got too hard. It made it harder, but I couldn't stop." We stood there, in my kitchen, connected by his hand on my face and 3 years of unspoken words. The anger was still there, a dull ache in my chest. But underneath it, something else was stirring. Something warm and terrifying. It was the love I had tried so hard to bury. A loud noise from the street outside shattered the moment. A car honking. We both jumped, and he dropped his hand. I stepped back, wiping my face with the back of my hand. The spell was broken. "You should go," I said, my voice firmer now. "You need to find a place to stay." He nodded, the vulnerability on his face being replaced by a calm acceptance. "You're right. I'll go. I'll find a hotel. But, Zara, can I see you again? Not here. Just for a coffee? To talk properly." I looked at him, at the hope in his eyes, at the man I had loved more than anything, the man who had broken me, the man who is now standing in my kitchen, broken himself. "I don't know," I answered honestly. "I need to think." "That's fair," he said. He walked to the door, picked up his suitcase, and put on his jacket. He paused with his hand on the doorknob and looked back at me. "For what it's worth, Zara," he said, his voice soft. "I never stopped loving you. Not for one single second. Leaving you was the hardest thing I ever had to do. And coming back was the scariest." He opened the door and walked out, closing it softly behind him. I stood in the middle of my living room, in my armor of jeans and a t-shirt, and I felt completely naked. The silence of the apartment, which had always felt so safe, now felt empty. Lonely.
He was gone.
Again. But this time, it felt different. This time, he hadn't left me. He had just walked out a door. A door I could open. I looked at the key dish by the door. The key he had used to get in was still there. He had put it back. He came back unexpectedly. And now he was gone. And I was left with the most terrifying question of all. What if I wanted him to come back for good? The next few days were a blur. I went to work. I came home. I ate food I couldn't taste. My phone felt like a bomb in my pocket. Every time it buzzed, my heart would leap into my throat, thinking it might be him. But it never was. He didn't call. He didn't text. It was like he had vanished again, like a dream you can't quite remember when you wake up. This silence was worse than the silence after he left the first time. Back then, I expected it. I knew he was gone. But this time, he had come back, touched my face, said he loved me, and then nothing. It was driving me crazy. I started to doubt everything that happened. Did I imagine it? Was the grief over his father making him say things he didn't mean? Was I just a convenient stop on his road to somewhere else? The old anger started to creep back in, mixing with the confusion and the ache. How dare he come here, stir everything up, and then disappear again? It was cruel. A week passed. Then 10 days. I was back to my routine, but it felt hollow. The dancing in the kitchen stopped. The bad singing stopped. I just went through the motions. My friend, Mira, noticed. She called me one evening. "You sound weird," she said, her voice direct.
She was always direct.
"What's going on?" I hesitated. I hadn't told anyone he was back. It felt too big, too strange to put into words. But the silence was crushing me. "Ayan came back," I blurted out. There was a pause on the other end.
What? When?
"Zara, what are you talking about?" I told her everything. The Tuesday night.
The key.
The eggs. The touch. The confession. And then the nothing. She was quiet for a long time after I finished. When she spoke, her voice was softer than I expected.
Wow.
"That's a lot." "I know. And he hasn't called?"
No.
"What do you want to happen?" That was the question I had been avoiding. What did I want? I was so used to being angry, to protecting myself, that I hadn't let myself want anything. Wanting meant risking getting hurt again. "I don't know," I whispered. "Yes, you do," Mira said gently. "You're just scared to admit it.
You always know, Zara.
Your heart knows. Your head is just very good at getting in the way." After I hung up, I sat on my couch, the same couch he had slept on, and I thought about her words. What did my heart know? My heart knew that the apartment felt empty without the possibility of him in it. My heart knew that I replayed the feeling of his hand on my face 100 times a day. My heart knew that the 3 years without him had been a long, gray winter, and his return, however brief and confusing, had felt like the first ray of spring. I was scared. I was so scared. But I was also tired. Tired of being angry. Tired of being safe. Tired of living in a world without surprises, even the bad ones. I grabbed my phone. Before I could talk myself out of it, I typed a message.
Hey, it's Zara.
"I hope you're okay. I've been thinking. If you still want that coffee, I'm free tomorrow." I stared at the message for a full minute. My thumb hovered over the send button. This was it. This was me opening the door. This was me being vulnerable. This was me possibly setting myself up for the biggest heartbreak of my life. I pressed send. The relief was instant, followed immediately by a wave of pure panic. What had I done? I threw my phone on the couch like it was on fire. I paced the room. I picked it up a dozen times to see if he had replied. Nothing. An hour passed. 2 hours. I had given up. I was in the bathroom, brushing my teeth, preparing for another night of staring at the ceiling. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. I ran, toothpaste dripping down my chin. I grabbed it. A message from Ayan.
Zara.
I'm so sorry for the silence. I went to my father's hometown to sort out his affairs. No service there. I just got your message. I would love to have coffee with you. More than anything. Tomorrow? Name the place. I read it 3 times. He wasn't ignoring me.
He was gone.
He was dealing with his father's death. The relief was so strong my knees felt weak. I sat on the edge of the bed, still holding the phone. Toothpaste forgotten. He wanted to see me. He said, more than anything. I typed back a simple coffee shop name and a time. My hands were shaking. He replied immediately. I'll be there. Thank you for reaching out. I was so scared to bother you. I didn't want to push. See you tomorrow. I smiled. For the first time in days, I actually smiled. He was scared to bother me. He was giving me space. He wasn't the same selfish guy who had left. He was different. He was thinking about me. The next day, I spent 2 hours getting ready
For a coffee.
with a man I had known for years. It was ridiculous. I tried on 5 different outfits. I changed my hair twice. I was a nervous wreck. By the time I walked into the little coffee shop near my apartment, my stomach was full of butterflies having a boxing match. He was already there, sitting at a table in the corner, the one we used to always sit at. He was looking at the door, and when he saw me, his whole face lit up. It wasn't a big, flashy smile. It was a small, private smile, just for me. It made my heart ache. He stood up as I approached. Hi, he said softly. Hi, I said back. I felt shy, like I was on a first date. You look beautiful, he said. It was simple. It wasn't cheesy. He just said it like it was a fact, like the sky being blue. It made me blush. We ordered our coffees. The same orders we always used to get. A latte for me, a black coffee for him. The barista, a young girl with pink hair, didn't know our history. To her, we were just another couple. But to us, everything felt charged with meaning. For the first few minutes, the conversation was safe.
How was his trip?
Sad, but necessary. How was work? Fine, the usual.
But the small talk couldn't last.
The big things were sitting at the table with us, demanding to be noticed. He put his coffee down and looked at me directly. Zara, I owe you an apology. Not just for leaving, but for coming back and then disappearing again. That wasn't fair. I should have told you I was leaving town. I got your message, and my first instinct was to call you, to tell you everything. But then I thought, maybe she needs space. Maybe my calling every day will just make it worse. I've spent 3 years not knowing what you need. I didn't want to get it wrong again. I listened. It made sense. It was considerate. It was mature. I thought you had changed your mind, I admitted quietly. I thought maybe you regretted saying all those things. He reached across the table and put his hand over mine. The touch was just as electric as the first time. I have never regretted a single word I said to you that night. I was terrified. I was a mess. But I meant every word. Zara, I came back for you. Not for a place to sleep. For you. I looked down at our hands on the table. His hand, warm and strong, covering mine. I'm scared, I whispered, not looking up. I know, he said gently.
So am I. I'm terrified.
I'm terrified I'll mess up again. I'm terrified I'll hurt you. I'm terrified you'll realize you're better off without me. I looked up then, meeting his eyes. What if I'm terrified that I'm not better off without you? His breath caught. He squeezed my hand. Then maybe we're both just a couple of terrified people sitting in a coffee shop, he said, a tiny smile playing on his lips. Maybe that's okay. Maybe we don't have to have all the answers today. Maybe we can just have coffee and see what happens. It was such a simple idea. So simple, it felt revolutionary. For 3 years, I had been living in the past or worrying about the future. I had never just lived in the now. Okay, I said, and a small smile spread across my own face. Okay, We can just have coffee. And we did. We talked for hours. We talked about the good memories, without the pain. We laughed about the time he tried to cook me a fancy dinner and set off the smoke alarm. We talked about his father, and I let him cry a little, and I held his hand. We talked about the last 3 years, the things we had done, the people we had become. It wasn't all easy. There were moments of silence, moments where the ghost of the past hung in the air. But we didn't run from it. We just sat with it. When we finally left the coffee shop, the sun was setting. We stood on the sidewalk, not wanting the afternoon to end. "Can I see you again?" he asked. "Maybe we could try dinner?" I promised not to set off any smoke alarms. I laughed. It was a real laugh, the kind I hadn't made in years. I'd like that. He walked me home. When we got to my door, the door he had walked through uninvited just 2 weeks ago, everything was different. He stood there, his hands in his pockets. "Good night, Zara," he said. "Good night, Ayan." He leaned in and gently kissed my forehead, the same spot he had kissed the night he left. But this kiss felt different. It felt like a beginning, not an ending. I went inside and closed the door. I leaned against it, just like I had that first night. But this time, I wasn't panicking. I was smiling. A big, goofy, uncontrollable smile. He came back unexpectedly. And maybe, just maybe, that was the best thing that could have happened. We started seeing each other. Slowly. Carefully. We went on dates. We talked on the phone for hours. We relearned each other. He told me about the places he had lived, the loneliness he had felt. I told him about the anger and the long process of learning to be alone. We weren't the same people who had broken up 3 years ago. We were different, older, wiser, more aware of how fragile love could be. The day he asked if he could take me to meet his mother, I knew things were getting serious. His mother lived in a small town a few hours away. She had always been kind to me, and I had been sad to lose that connection when we broke up. The drive was quiet, but comfortable. He held my hand over the gear shift. When we pulled up to his childhood home, a small, neat house with a garden full of flowers, I felt nervous. His mother opened the door before we could knock. She was smaller than I remembered, and there was a new sadness in her eyes from losing her husband. But when she saw me, her face broke into the warmest smile. "Zara," she said, pulling me into a tight hug. "My dear, dear Zara, welcome home." Those words, "welcome home," they undid me. I hugged her back, tears pricking my eyes. Over lunch, she told stories about Ayan as a boy. She made him blush. She held my hand across the table and said, "I always hoped you would find your way back to each other. Some love stories just need a little more time to get it right." After lunch, Ayan and I went for a walk in the garden. The sun was warm on our faces. He stopped by a rose bush and picked a single, perfect red rose. He handed it to me a little shyly. "For you," he said. I took it, smiling. "Thank you." He took a deep breath. "Zara, I know we've been taking it slow, and I don't want to rush you. But being here with my mom, seeing you two together, it just feels right. It feels like this is where we're supposed to be." He took my other hand, so he was holding both of them, the rose between us. "I'm not the same man who left you, and you're not the same woman. But I think we could be great together. Again.
For real this time.
I want to try. I want to try to build a life with you. The life we should have had. A life with no more running." I looked at him, standing there in his mother's garden, holding a rose, with so much hope and love in his eyes. I thought about the Tuesday night he came back, the shock, the anger, the fear, and I thought about all the days since then, the healing, the laughter, the relearning, the love that had never really died, just been sleeping. I thought about my quiet apartment, my safe life. And I realized I didn't want safe anymore. I wanted this. I wanted him. I wanted the messy, terrifying, wonderful, unpredictable adventure of loving Ayan. I squeezed his hands. A tear rolled down my cheek, but it was a happy tear. "Yes," I whispered. His eyes widened. "Yes," I laughed, a watery, joyful sound. "Yes, Ayan. I want to try too. I want to build that life with you." He let out a whoop of joy and pulled me into his arms, spinning me around right there in the garden. The rose was crushed between us, but I didn't care. I was laughing, crying, holding on to him for dear life. His mother clapped from the porch. When he finally put me down, he cupped my face in his hands, just like he had in my kitchen that first night. But this time, there was no fear in his eyes, only love. "I love you, Zara," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I never stopped. And I promise you, I will spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of this second chance." "I love you too," I whispered back. And then he kissed me, not on the forehead.
آره الکیش.
A kiss that held all the pain of the past and all the hope for the future. It was a kiss that felt like coming home. He came back unexpectedly.
And he changed everything.
The journey wasn't always easy. We had to learn to trust again. We had fights, real fights, about stupid things. We had moments where the old hurt would bubble up, and we would have to sit down and talk it through, sometimes for hours. But we did it. We did it together. Because we had learned the hard way that love wasn't enough. You also needed patience and forgiveness and a willingness to be a little bit terrified together. A year later, on a sunny afternoon, we got married in his mother's garden. The same garden where he had given me that crushed rose. I wore a simple white dress, and he wore a suit that made him look incredibly handsome. Mira was my bridesmaid, crying more than I was. His mother sat in the front row, beaming. During the ceremony, we wrote our own vows. When it was my turn, I looked at Ayan, at the man who had broken my heart and then painstakingly helped me put it back together, and I said, "Ayan, you came back unexpectedly. You came back on a Tuesday in my worst pajamas, and you turned my whole world upside down. You reminded me that the best things in life are worth being scared for. You taught me that love isn't about never getting hurt. It's about getting hurt and then choosing to love again anyway. I choose you. Today, tomorrow, and every Tuesday for the rest of my life." He laughed, tears streaming down his face. When he spoke, his voice was rough with emotion. "Zara, I left to find myself, but I was lost the whole time. I was lost until the moment I put that key in your lock. I came back to you because you are my home. You are my heart. And I promise you, I will never leave home again." We kissed, and our small group of friends and family cheered. It was perfect. It was messy and emotional and absolutely, perfectly us.